Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to my channel. Tonight, we're going to talk about baling and baling technology, everything you wanted to know about round and square bales, why you'd pick one over the other, and things to think about when you're doing baling. Also, kind of how it works, because I know there's going to be some of you coming on here going, what the heck is all this equipment? I've never played this game before, and there's so much to it. So, first, let's talk about materials. What are the things that we can do with bales? What are the types of materials that we collect, and why do we do it? So there's four main types of bales that we can have. We can have grass bales. We can have dried grass bales, which otherwise known as hay. That's what the rest of the world calls it. But essentially hay is, well, technically you can have all kinds of different hay too. But in this game, it's dried grass. Then you have straw, which is left behind by wheat and barley. And you also have silage bales, which is basically when you take a grass or hay bale and you wrap it. You make what's called silage. Why do you collect these materials? Well, you can collect grass bales and feed them to your sheep and your cows, because your cows require some grass along with other types of food. Your sheep only eat grass, so you're going to want to save some grass bales for your sheep. And the reason why you bale it is because obviously it's much easier to store. It's much easier to manage when it's in a packed format rather than just being material, loose grass. So baling it, makes it into a nice tight package, which will allow you to feed it to your animals easier using a front loader or using a mixing wagon like when you're making with the cows. It makes it easier to measure. So you can get you need 2 bales of silage, 1 bale of hay, and 1 bale of straw, and you mix those together and you make your power food for your cows. So there's many different things that you can do with the bales. But once again, the 4 main materials are grass, hay, which is dried grass, straw, which is left behind by the harvesters, and then silage, which is when you wrap the grass or hay bales in game. In real life, you wouldn't wrap a hay bale unless you wanted to preserve the dryness, but it wouldn't become silage. But a grass bale will become silage because the grass is wet. It'll start to decompose, and it becomes silage over time. About 60 days in real life. In the game, when you wrap the bale, it's instantaneous. Now, there's several different methods for baling, and there's different things that you can do for the equipment-wise. But the 2 main things are the round baler and the square baler. We then move on to matching things. We have a wrapper for the round baler. You've seen this Ursus. And then we also have, if you have the Coon DLC, you have a square bale wrapper. I believe there's also a modified version of one for those of you that can get mods on the PC. But I do this to cover all versions of the game. Now, sadly, for those of you that play on the Nintendo Switch, you're stuck. There is no DLCs for the Nintendo, so you don't have a square bale wrapper. You never will. So you're stuck. If you want to make silage bales, you have to go with the round baling system. You can't buy this and add it to your game, unfortunately. But for everybody else, this Coon DLC is available for purchase through your gaming store, through the Farm Sim store. And you can use this to wrap grass bales that are made with the square baler. And that's really nice because it's nice to be able to make silage. This is the first version of the game to have this. In the 2015 version, you could not wrap square bales ever. So until they came out with some mods, but if you can't get mods, you're skunked. So the next thing is the round bale picker-upper, the pickup wagon. This just makes life easier. You could buy, using a front loader with bale forks, these pokers, or if you have wrap bales, you could use the wrap bale handler. If you want to get technical, you could also use this roll type bale loader, and you can load bales onto this flatbed wagon here from Flegel. It's pretty easy to load square bales onto here, and with some mods and stuff, it gets even easier. But if you're going to do it by hand, it takes a long time. It really is not an easy process. So I do recommend, if you have the money, to get the collection wagons. And of course, the big red one is very expensive, but it carries 16 square bales. So we have the round and square. So once again, you're looking at 2 different types of equipment. So let's really quick run down to the field and take a look at our materials and how we get them. So the first step to getting your material for your cows, sheep, pigs, is to mow the grass. And you can see right here, this guy's out mowing. He's making some nice rows. We can collect those rows with the baler. Now he's going to stop here in a minute. He gets lost and says he's done, but that's okay. So he's all finished, but so we've made these rows, and we can collect those rows with the baler. But the cows are going to need both grass, which is this dark green stuff, and they're also going to need hay. So he's blocked by me, by the way. And hay is over here, so you can see this light green grass. And what we're doing is I have this small tractor running here, this little Hurleyman, and he is running what's called a tedder. And what the tedder does is it stirs the grass up, mixes it around, and gets the wet parts out and exposed towards the sun. And what that'll do is that'll make it so that the grass will dry faster. In real life, they usually ted a couple times. They'll ted it, leave it, let it dry, ted it again, let it dry, and over about a week's time, they'll get it nice and dry. And then they go out with a third device called a windrower, and I'll show you that next. So once you're done tedding, you're going to want to windrow this stuff so it's easier to collect. So here we have a windrower. This is true for both round and square bales. You do want the windrower. Trust me. And you'll see what this does. This basically takes the grass and makes it into a nice, neat pile. Or hay. I should say hay because it's hay. It's not grass. Cleans it up, makes it easier for the baler to collect. You'll get a lot of bales out of 1 or 2 passes. I'm going to go ahead and hire a dude to do this. We'll let him run for a little while. Now, we don't have to do this on the grass section. We did the hay section because obviously the hay is a mess. After you ted it, it gets all over the place. But over here in our grass section, you can just pick this up with the baler. But to be honest with you, you can take 1, 2, 3 rows using that windrower and combine them into one row. And then you only have to bale once for each 3 rows. Otherwise, you'd have to go back up and back 3 times. If you do the windrowing, you only have to go up and down twice. So it's, I think, easier to windrow the grass too, but you don't have to do it. So now let's go ahead and take a look. So we've seen how we make our grass and how we make our hay over here. This is the hay. Once again, the lighter stuff is the hay because it's dry. The wet stuff is still green. It's grass. And last but not least, we're going to go grab this harvester here, and I'm going to harvest just a little bit so you can see how we make straw. And then we'll take a look again at the 3 materials. But let's go ahead and get this going. Okay, so here we are at this field. I'm going to go ahead and turn the harvester on. And what you're going to see is out the back, the straw swath is going to be on. I'm going to turn this on too. I'm going to turn my help menu so you guys can see this. Right now the straw swath is enabled, but this is what's going to happen if it's disabled. If you see this happening, you need to stop and enable it, because watch what happens. Okay, so I'm going to start harvesting. I'm not getting any swath. Instead, it's just spraying stuff out in the field. This is making nothing. Now, in some versions, like if you have a mod called the straw harvest, I'm sorry, what's it called? It's straw something. Oh my gosh, my brain. Anyway, there's a mod out there that allows you to chop straw. That's what it's called. It allows you to use straw for fertilizer. This is not so much. But so anyway, what you do is you press, and in my case, it's the comma key, but it'll be different on your controller probably. But I hit that, and look, now we get a nice straw swath, and that is what we're going to collect with straw with the baler. So that's our third material. So once again, hay, grass, and straw. Those are the 3 materials that we can collect, and we can make silage. So it makes 4 different types of bales: hay, grass, straw, and silage. You cannot wrap straw. You can't make silage with straw, so don't worry about it. You just collect it and save it. So there's that. So once again, real quick recap. We have our hay, which is in the process right now of being windrowed. We have our grass, which is hard to see for some reason when you're at ground level. As I get up higher into the tractor, so if I tab into a tractor, you can see the rows much easier. I'm going to windrow this, though, too, because, like I said, it makes it a little bit easier. And then last but not least, we have our train. We have our straw swath. So there's our 3 types. Once again, that's what they look like. So you know what to collect with the baler. So let's go ahead and start baling to see what the 2 different types do. So one of the things that we need to address when we're talking about round baling versus square baling is equipment versus price. So when you start out on a farm, in general, they seem to give you this case 1455. Other tractors that a lot of times you start with include the Hurleyman. You usually have the Zetter Proxima Power 120 or the 150, which is the Forterra. The Dutzfar AgroStar 661. And where is, well, we have the case. Where's the New Holland? There's the New Holland, the 8340, 125 horsepower. These tractors all range under 150 horsepower. And so what we have an issue with is if we go back and look at the balers and we look at the horsepower ratings, these are a little bit misleading. This says the big baler requires a minimum of 185 horsepower. Let me tell you something. This baler is huge, and when you pull it up hills, if you got a 200 horsepower tractor, you are going to be waiting for hours while this thing tries to climb up the hill. It's going to take you a long time. You really need a 300 horsepower tractor to operate the big baler. The nice thing about the roller belt, and look at the horsepower, is 70. This works with almost any tractor in the game easily. Doesn't mean that you can't pull this baler, the big one, with a small tractor. You can. The game allows you to do it. In real life, you wouldn't be able to, but you're going to really struggle with this baler. And all the benefits that you would get from using a big baler are going to go out the door, because part of the big baler that's nice is its speed. But that goes away if you're using a crappy little tractor. So what I've done is I've got two of the default tractors. We have this Case 185. This is a 200 horsepower, 225 horsepower. We're going to use this to pull that big baler. And I'm going to say something. This is probably even not big enough. If I were you and I was going with a big baling setup, the big square baler, including any of the mod ones, I would start with at least, well, let's see here. I mean, the Puma, if you upgrade it, could have enough horsepower. The Lamborghini, if you upgrade it, could have enough horsepower. The Dutzfar Series 7 has enough power. The Massey Ferguson, the Vultra, but all of these need to be upgraded. A tractor that's going to be real comfortable with that setup is going to be the Terrace, the T7, the Optima. These are all built on the same chassis, and they're all worthy horsepower contenders. This guy, for sure, anything bigger than these tractors, even the Fast Track 8000 would pull it okay. This Case is right on the edge. These tractors here are the tier 6 or tier 7, I guess. They're just on the edge of being too small for the baler, especially if you have a hilly map. So, and the other thing too is this Arcuzan Autostack also requires a pretty beefy tractor to pull it. So just be aware that you want to get some horsepower on these things, which means you're going to have to spend more money. That's the second thing that we need to look at when we're talking about round versus square. This baler's $58,000. This baler's $102,000. The wrappers are almost the same. This guy's in the 30s, I believe. I think it's 38. Let's check real quick. Stat check, 42, so I was off. This one's 42. If you have the Kuhn pack, this one's 54, so it's 11,000, 12,000 more. 11,000. However, the Ursus is 39, the collection wagon, and this is 70. So we got another big jump there. So you need the money for the horsepower. You need the money for the almost double price of the baler, almost the double price of the Autostack, and the $10,000 more for, or $12,000 more for the wrapper. So you're talking big finances, probably close to $400,000 to purchase a square baling kit that's going to work well. If you're going with the round baling kit, you're looking more like $120,000. And you don't need to upgrade your tractors because these work, all of these small pieces of equipment work well with the smaller tractors. Another thing that you need to consider if you're using the auto stack, okay? This auto stacker stacks 8 bales high. I'm sorry, 4 high. It's 8 bales altogether, 4 high. You can use a regular tractor front loader to pull those bales off the stack. This stacks the bales, the square bales, 16. They're 8 high. There's 16 bales, 8 high. You're going to need a telehandler to pull those top bales off, or you're going to have to knock the pile down to get to the top bales. A front loader will not reach the top 3 or 4 bales on the stack, and I'll show you that at the end too. But you're going to need more equipment. So once again, big bales equal big money. The round bales equal small amounts of money. So not small, but it's easy to get into. So if you're just starting out on your farm and you don't have a lot of capital, but you want to feed your cows right, you're going to need to invest in the smaller kit. If you are all about big farming and you got a ton of money, and like I do, $85 million, and I did that by editing the XML file. I always get asked, how did I do that? But if you have a big farm and you got big money coming in, no big deal. Just get the big stuff. Get a big tractor to run it. I would say, once again, the next case up from this one. So the Maxim, I think it's called. Let's take a look real quick here. But any of those larger tractors, the Optum, sorry. The Maxim is the next one. That's this guy, a Magnum. Magnum. So from the fast track up, you're good. Any tractors past there are going to be enough horsepower to pull the big baling kit. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the round baling. I'll show you some of the benefits and unbenefits of using the round bales. Once again, default tractor, good news. It has the horsepower to do the job, and that's all I care about. So let's get the job done. I'll be right back. So we've arrived at the field, Soldier Field. I'm going to unfold the baler. I'm going to then lower the collection portion of the baler and turn our little baler on. Sorry, it's on my steering wheel. My steering wheel is turning. All right, so we are collecting here, and you're going to get a buzzer warning letting you know that you need to stop soon, about 70%. It's letting us know that the stop is coming soon. We've got to stop. If we don't stop, we're just miss material. So I stop, and then I have to unload the bale, pressing a certain button, which I'm not pressing. There we go. And there's our first hay bale. And we're going to move along here, pick up some more hay. And we can do this from in the cab. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to do it in the cab because you can see if you're online or not. Just got to be careful. And we got to stop. And so you can see here, there's a little bit of a process to doing the round bales. There's a lot of stop and start. So I can't see the thing in here. Close it back up. And off we go again. And we'll start collecting more. We'll make 2 or 3 of these. And it lets me know. And I got to stop. Get to 100%. Open it up. You can see it empty out there and the gauge. One of the ways you can try, if you're doing it in the cab like I'm doing and the mirrors aren't showing it, then you can sit in cab here. And you can run along, and you'll notice that it empties. Well, I want you to watch those numbers at the bottom. When it gets to 4,000, it's full. And I'm going to press the button to empty it. And there it goes, emptied. And you can see it just empties out. So now we know it's empty, and I can pull ahead. But that's how you do it from inside the cab. Now, one of the things you'll notice is that I think we'll get one more bale out of this, and I don't really need any more, so... Oh, that guy's windrowing the... I wanted him to windrow the grass. He's going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. Get back here. Hey! 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 All right, so we've done that. I can't believe you've done this. So we're going to drop that, and I'm going to move on over to the straw so you can see what that looks like. Pretty easy. I mean, it's all the same pretty much. It's not... There's not any huge variation between the different types of crop, but just so you get the idea. We'll make 2 bales. That's all we need. And we're going to jump. Oh, we're done. We're full. That, see, once again, interruption of flow. Which kind of sucks because you got to stop every time. There are some mod balers that have the ability to dump a bale out while you're making another one so that you don't have to stop with each one. Things to also think about when you're dealing with round bales versus square. If you're on a very hilly map, round bales may not be a great choice because obviously you're going to end up with quite a mess when those bales start rolling down the hill and you've got to go catch them. So sometimes square bales are better just for handling. And also, definitely square bales, if you're going to manually collect bales, and we're going to head over to the grass here and grab some of that. If you manually collect bales using like a forklift, a front loader or a telehandler or like the big loaders, if you're going to use that type of device to load the bales, it's actually much easier to load them, the square bales, onto carts than it is the round bales. The round bales, of course, you can only really get one level of them on there. It's hard to stack them, and they just want to go all over the place. Whereas the square bales are definitely easier to kind of puzzle piece together. So here's grass. And it's important we make a couple of these because I want to show you what we do with this, with the wrapper. Now, it's hard to tell with the round bales, but the grass bales are going to look darker than the hay bales. And you'll see a definite difference with the square bales. But for some reason, the round ones are really hard to distinguish. I'm not sure why that is, but if we put them next to each other, you'll have a hard time distinguishing them. I can almost guarantee it. So see, I overshot. You have to really kind of pay attention to what's going on. And here's one of the issues. That bale's going to roll. Oh, no, it stayed. Okay, good. They're a little sticky so that they don't go all over the place, thanks to the developer. But now in real life, I guess round bales don't roll so easily. They can, but it's really hard to get them rolling because they're kind of smushy. So they kind of stick in place. The bottom gets like squished and they don't roll. Let's go ahead and dump that. And we'll make one more just for good measure. So we've made pretty much four of each type of bale using our round baler. You can see how it's a good process, but it is kind of interruptive because you have to keep stopping. You know, stop, brakes, put the thing out. And so we'll shut this off. Going to close that. And we'll move the tractor off to the side. And I'm going to go grab the square baler, and we'll be right back. You can see the difference in operation right in a second. We have arrived. I'm going to undo. So we're going to unfold this. We're going to lower the pickup unit, and we're going to turn the baler on. And off we go. We're going to make 4 grass bales so we can do some wrapping, and we should get 4 out of this row, I would think. Now, the nice thing about this baler, this is my favorite part, we don't have to stop. You can just set your cruise control and go. So we don't even really have to monitor. You can just always drive from inside if you find it easier to stay on target. Stay on target. There's second bale. We'll just do the whole row. Got our third. And we're making our fourth. Maybe get five bales out of this. 5. Now when you're changing types of bales, the balers will automatically change. So if I just ran over the straw and I was halfway full, it just turns into straw. In real life, you'd have a half and half bale, but in the game, it doesn't. It just changes it to whatever the current material is. So, all right, there we go. People use that. Sometimes they cheat with that, but anyway, we have like 5 bales, and the thing that we can do is after I turn this off, I can force this to unload those last 2 bales, so I'm not mixing bales. And let's go ahead and I'll just for example, I'll turn this back on. We're going to go into the cabin view again. And now we're going to switch over to straw and run a little bit for straw. And what the interesting thing is you'll see, and it's not super interesting, but you'll see this change. It just changed to straw and finished the bale. So, but you can notice this is much, much faster. This tractor is not having too much problems, but we're going to run the other way uphill. So then you'll see us start to have some issues. I'm going to bale for a couple minutes because we need to have, I want to fill up the auto stack so that we have 16 bales so you can see how tall it gets. So I will be right back when I switch over to the hay. Oh, and I should say this. One of the other things that you should consider when you're making hay, so if you have a crop and let's say you have enough food for your animals, that doesn't mean to just throw this material away. You should sell these bales because the bales, like this field, probably has $30,000 to $40,000 worth of bales on it, game speak. Not in real life, obviously, but in the game, you could probably pull out $30,000 off this field of bales. So, and it's just straw, and it's free. It comes with the crops that you grow, so you might as well do it, right? So just get the crop, and so here we go. We're going to start putzing uphill. Our speed when we're on flat ground is 12 miles an hour. Let's see if this 225 horsepower tractor can maintain it up this grade right here. If it does, I'll be impressed, honestly. And if it does, then no problem. Then that's a test right here that you can use this tractor for this baler without a problem. So if it does, looks like, yeah, we're starting to drop speed a little bit, but not too bad. Just 1 mile an hour. So yeah, 10. 11. There we go. We're picking speed back up as we get off the grade. So that's not so bad. If you had a bigger tractor, you wouldn't drop speed, but that's really not. That's negligible. Even the biggest tractors will have trouble if you're going up a real steep grade. So I would say, let's revise that from the Dutzfar Series 7, Lamborghini, that kind of stuff you can use. Anything over 200 horsepower should be fine. Once again, this tractor has 225, so I would kind of stick in that range if I were you. But you can see here, the nice thing about this is just, like I said, ease of use, speed. It's simple. It works fast. It does its job. We're not sitting around waiting, having to stop between bales. So this is the big benefit of having a square baler. It's much more efficient, but it is a lot more costly. So once again, at least triple the price, I think. It seems like that would be about what it turns out to be. So, okay, so I think we've made enough bales. Let's go ahead and start the next process, which will be wrapping. So for those of you that want to make silage, we're going to cover that next. Ooh, and I forgot to dump the straw bales out, so now we have straw bales on this field. No big deal, but If you're OCD, that might drive you crazy. All right, right back. We're arriving on scene. I'm going to unfold the wrapper, and we're going to grab this bale right here and wrap it. So what happens is this turns the bale from grass or hay into silage. Once again, you can't wrap straw. There is no straw to wrap. So in real life, you could wrap a straw bale. It would just stay straw. Straw stays nice and dry if you keep it in a barn, so there's no reason to wrap it. But if you don't have a barn, you may want to wrap it. So anyway, but this is what the wrapping looks like. And once again, the wrapper will accept either straw or grass. In real life, you just want to do grass, but the game doesn't. It's a game. It's not real. So what we have now is that bale is now made of silage instead of grass. And what that does is instead of having to use the bunkers, and for those of you that don't know anything, you can see that bale rolled onto the back of the tractor down there, by the way. See that right there? That's what I try to avoid. We'll go grab that one. But while we're down here, I want to show you the silage bunker so you can see what I'm talking about. If you don't have a wrapper and you need to make silage for your cows, or you want to sell silage at the biogas plant, let's try this again. As I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted by farm sim physics. Nope, I'm not going to get it. I have to move the Massey. So what happens is you have to mow the grass. You'll use a collection wagon, and you'll put the grass that you collect in this bin here. And then you got to run it over with a tractor and compress it down, and then it becomes silage after 24 hours of sitting under a blanket. You can see I've got part of this silo blanketed off. There we go. So we're making silage right now with the white stuff. While it's doing that, I'm going to take a look here and show you. Here's the silage when it's finished. But when it's fermenting, it gets wrapped. You wrap it after you've compressed it and you collected it all and compressed it. You then wrap it. This sits overnight, and in the morning, it becomes silage. In real life, it takes about 60 days, once again, to become silage. But this is a much easier way to do it. It costs money, but in the long run, you're going to be thankful that you invested in the equipment, because this is so much easier to do and faster. And it also makes it easier to mix. If you're using that bunker, you got to mix it with a shovel. Here, you just grab like 2 grass, 1 silage, and a hay, and you got your cow food. So once again, if you have questions, more information about silage, or more information about feeding your cows, I do have tutorials on this same playlist teaching you how to do both of those things. So don't feel too lost. I'm kind of going fast through that stuff because, like I said, I've created other tutorials. There's no reason for me to cover it twice, but I do make silage. You'll see me make silage and all that stuff. But this is our silage bale. So we've got, here's a hay bale. And over there, we have some grass bales. Or these are grass bales. I'm sorry, that's a grass bale. And then we have a wrapped bale right there. And the hay's on the other side. And we have straw bales. And so we'll collect all those in a minute. But I just want to show you that so you can see how the wrapping goes. We'll also run the square bale wrapper real quick so you can see that. All right, so here's a little trick / tip for you. If you want to make big money on your farm, grow some grass, mow it, wrap it, and sell it. The biggest money makers in this game right now are silage bales. So if you want to, it gets boring after a while, but if you want to make money fast for your farm at the start, oops, wrong button. Silage bales, what we're doing right now, are the way to go. These make so much money. Each bale's worth between $3,000 and $5,000. I would guesstimate a field like this full of silage bales, you're going to pull down $150,000 to $200,000, maybe more. You know, if you're playing on medium or normal. Definitely if you're playing on easy. We're using the Lindtrack, a tractor that's in every farm game. Lindner is in a lot of farm sim games. They're like the... But anyway, here's the square bale wrapper, and it does us a nice job. We get a 4,000 liter bale of silage, just like the round bale. Same size as the round bale. But it's a nice piece of equipment. But once again, you have to have the DLC to get it. I think there's a modded one out there somewhere, but I mean, I've got this one, so I don't really need the mod one. But I think if you're a computer user, you can get a modded version of this for free. If not, though, you have to buy the Coon Pack. If you're on the console and you want this, you got to get it from the Coon Pack. So anyway, that is the only DLC that I'll feature in this video. Everything else is included with the game. Somebody turn my blinkers on. There we go. All right, so that is the wrapping process. The last thing that we need to do is collect. So we'll go ahead and I'll start that, and I'll show you how to do it. All right, so once again, you don't have to buy this device. I like it because it makes my life a lot easier, especially with the round bales. However, there's a downside. If you're mowing a lawn that's a long way away from your storage facility, this only holds 8 bales, so you're going to be doing a lot of back and forth. You better have that JCB Fast Track that goes, 45 miles an hour, because you're going to be doing a lot of back and forth between your farm and this collecting, or in the place where you mowed. If you're right next door to your cows, like we are here, no big deal. But this does definitely only hold 8, whereas the other one holds 16. So this can be a little bit of a hold up here. Now, we're going to grab a grass bale. I wanted to show you the difference just so you know. A hay bale. We have grass bales. These are the hay bales right here. I just want you to see this real quick. I'm going to hop out and show you a quick looky-see. The difference between the grass and the hay, if you can tell. The grass is on the left. The hay is on the right. The grass is darker. It's really kind of hard to tell with these bales. Once again, try to get up on top, but you can't. Yeah, from here you can't really even tell at all. It's really difficult. But when you're looking head on, you can tell. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you so you can see. Now, with the square bales, it's a lot easier to see the difference because they're just naked. They don't have that white wrap around them like this does. He said naked. Sorry, I'm super immature. Let's grab a couple straw bales, too, just for fun, so you can see how that works. It's the same pretty much for all of them, but what the hay. No pun intended. So we got 2 silage, 2 grass, 2 hay, and 2 straw. 1 scotch, 1 whiskey, and 1 beer. Good old George Thorogood. George Thorough, not so good. All right. Let's go ahead and dump these off. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you, this is one of the benefits of the smaller 8 bale wagon versus the 16 bale square bale stacker. Because this is only 4 high, it's a little bit easier to fit into your storage facility. And we're going to go do that. Right now, I'm going to pull in here and unfold. I left the lights on the Lindner. Oops. So we'll get this into unfold mode by pressing the X button on my controller. I don't know what it is on yours, but you can see here we get that thing all the way up. I usually raise it before I pull into the building, because a lot of times with these sloped buildings, they're taller than the building is. If you do it in the back, it'll actually get wedged in there and you'll have problems. So there we go. That's probably about far enough. I don't want to, I can get a little further. So there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and set these by pressing the X button again, and then pulling forward and pressing the X button again. Voila! You have everything you need to feed your 2 cows. If you have more cows than 2, nice driving, then you got a problem, because obviously you're going to need way more bales of each type than this. But this gives you an idea. A good starter, everything we need in 2 stacks. You can see here, once again, the grass bales are a little bit darker than the hay bales, but it's really hard to tell. Okay, so last but not least, let's get that square baler rolling and try that out. Or the collection wagon, the square pickup bale thing wagon. We have arrived. I've got the larger JCB pulling this wagon. And we're going to pick up some silage bales. Once again, you can do 2 at a time. You have to wait for the thing to reset. It's true of both of these collection wagons. Collecting wagon. I don't know what you call it. This is like a bale collector, I guess. I don't know. It's an auto stack from our cousin. Your cousin and my cousin. So 2, there's 1. There's 2. Before we pick up that next bale, we have to see all the pieces go back into place. So you'll see this load up. The pieces fall back down. And now we can collect another bale. There's 3 grass bales. 3 grass bales. 3 grass bales. And then we're going to go pick up some hay bales. Now, why do I want to do this out of order and not pick up these straw bales? Because I want to get, I want them next to each other so you can see the difference between the grass and the hay. Just, once again, for reference. There you go. So you can see right there next to each other, the grass is on the left, the hay is on the right, and now the hay is on top and the grass is on the bottom. I've run this thing over. Can't believe it. What a catch. Oh. Oh. I'm not driving so good. Things are going pear-shaped. All right, so here we go. But you can see very clearly right there. It's like Neapolitan ice cream. We have 3 different flavors: silage, grass, and hay. Let's go ahead and pick up. We'll fill the thing up the rest of the way with straw bales off the other field. I got 2 more of these to pick up. Got 10. We need 6 more. One more. And we got 4 more to go. And we're going to get them because they're there. We've made enough bales to really... So you can see, once again, more efficient than the round baler because we pick up a ton at a time. 14. Oh, 15. Oh, Arthur. Oh. Oh, Arthur. Okay. Attaboy. And we is done. So 16 bales. We are 100% full. Let's get this guy up to the... shed. My brain was blank that whole time. I'm like, what was the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna pull this up to the meltdown. All right, so let's get this here. I'm gonna back that up, and I'm gonna go ahead and unfold this using my X button. And we're gonna see right here. This is a problem. This one's much taller. The shelter is not big enough. So you'd have to put this in a taller building, and you would want to put it in the building. Honestly, you would want to store it, or you'd have to break this up. You'd get a forklift and take the top 4 off, and then stack them 4 high by hand, because this is just too big. And that's that. So there is the collection for the square bales. You guys have seen it all, really. That really is all there is to it. You don't have to mix and match. You can keep them, I've mixed and matched piles here. So what happens tomorrow when I got to go mix it? And I'm like, oh, I need 2 straw, 1 grass, 1 bale. And then I needed, silage. And the silage is on the bottom. So anyway, this has been a look at the baling technology in the game, how to use it, what the purpose is, who you feed, what do you do with it. Anyway, hopefully you guys have found this useful to you if you're new farmers, and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy all the content that we have on here and you find the information useful. Have a great night. Be sure to subscribe. Thumbs up always help, and we'll see you next time on Farming Simulator 17 and hopefully soon 19. Yeah.